Let us focus on coding part. First, let's start with the pom.xml. We need to add additional configuration in pom.xml to recognize the MySQL libraries. So for that, we need to add MySQL connector Java. This can import the dependent libraries for MySQL. Now we need model calls to map to the user table in database. Created a model named user to reflect the user table. This is the entity class that will map to a table. We have used different types of annotations in this model. Entity is a class-level annotation specifies that this Java class should be persisted to a database table. ID is a field-level annotation specifies the primary key of the entity and maps it to the primary key of the table. Generated value specifies how the primary key ID will be generated. We chose generation type.auto. Now create the repository. All we need to do is define an interface that extends CRUD repository to access the data. When you extend the CRUD repository interface, Spring Data JPA will automatically generate the implementation of generic CRUD operations like save delete by ID, find all, and many more. The CRUD repository interface requires the entity class and its ID type as generic type arguments. Now in REST controller we need to auto-wire the repository to a variable. The auto-wiring will take care of injecting the repository object. To insert REST data API, the data is passed as JSON format in request body. The JSON format replicate the user object. ID is not passed in the JSON structure, because ID is auto-generate as per the entity class. We can save the data to database with the help of inbuilt save method. To retrieve the data, we can use find all method from repository object. The find all return the iterator. We can then iterate to get the first name of all the users and return it in the response. Now start the application. If you are facing any issues while starting service, try to install Maven again. Let's test the insert and get in the Postman. First we can insert the data by sending request to insert data. The status is 200, which mean the data is successfully saved in database. Let's insert once more user. Now we can verify the data in MySQL before we test the getData service. In MySQL execute the select query and verify the data. We can see the data in database. Now let's retrieve the data using the getRestData web service. Go back to the Postman and send request to getRestData. We can see the first name of all users in the response. In next session we can see how to implement the logic in repository to fetch the data based on query and joins.